Chromatography. Chromatography is the analytical techniques used for separation, purification, identification of constituents from the mixture. The Russian botanist Mikhail Tsvets coined the term chromatography in 1906. The first analytical use of chromatography was described by James and Martin in 1952 for the use of gas chromatography for the analysis of fatty acid mixtures. Chromatography is based on the principle where molecules in mixture applied onto the surface or into the solid and fluid stationary phase, that is stable phase, is separating from each other while moving with the aid of a mobile phase. Three components thus form the basis of the chromatography technique. First, stationary phase. This phase is always composed of a solid phase or a layer of a liquid adsorbed on the surface of a solid support. Second, mobile phase. This phase is always composed of liquid or a gaseous component. Third, the separated molecules. The type of interaction between the stationary phase, mobile phase, and the substances contained in the mixture is the basic component effective on the separation of molecules from each other. The RF value is defined as the ratio of the distance moved by the solute, that is, the dye or pigment under test, and the distance moved by the solvent, known as solvent front, along the paper, where both distances are measured from the common origin or application baseline, that is the point where the sample is initially spotted on the paper. RF value is calculated by the formula, that is distance from baseline travelled by solute divided by distance from baseline travelled by solvent, that is solvent front. Classification of chromatography. On the basis of interaction of solute to the stationary phase, there are four different types, that is adsorption, partition, ion exclusion, and size exclusion chromatography. On the basis of chromatographic bed shape, there are two types, that is two-dimensional and three-dimensional. Two-dimensional chromatography is further divided into two types, that is thin layer chromatography and paper chromatography, whereas three-dimensional chromatography is divided as column chromatography. On the basis of physical shape, liquid chromatography and gas chromatography are the two different types. Principles of chromatography. The separation technique of chromatography is dependent on the principle of partitioning the constituent components between two phases, a mobile phase and a stationary phase. The mobile phase is used to indicate the mixture of the substances to be separated and dissolved in a liquid or a gas. The stationary phase is used to describe a porous solid matrix through which sample present in the mobile phase percolates. The method of chromatography is based on the fact that the dissolved substances in the same solvent may have differing solubility. The solute with great solubility rises faster and segregates from the mixture. The different solubility of the analyte is due to the differential affinity or the different strength of the adhesion towards the mobile and the stationary phases. The affinity of an analyte can be explained by two terms. The first is adsorption and the second is solubility. Adsorption is the ability to get attached to the surface of the stationary phase, while solubility is the ability to dissolve in the mobile phase. Analyte having different or higher adsorption will slowly pass through the column, while analyte having high solubility will move faster through the column. The difference in the solubility and adsorption is due to the difference in polarity towards different phases, which determines the extent of adsorption and solubility. Thank you.